Hi there, my name is Solomon David and welcome to my YouTube channel where I teach you how to play the violin in 15 easy lessons. What you can expect in this course is the basic fundamentals of violin playing. You'll learn how to analyze music and play sheet music on the violin. What you'll need is a violin and a bow, so do get prepped for your very first lesson. Do like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. Hi there and welcome to lesson 1 on how to play the violin in 15 easy lessons. In today's lesson for chapter 1, I'll be walking you through the various parts of the violin and its key functions. If you've not taken out your violin, please do so now, and you can use it as reference for today's class. Starting right at the top, we have the violin's scroll. If you've ever visited a music store, you might have noticed how they use the violin scroll to display their violins. Aside from being a decorative piece, the violin scroll acts as support for violinists to tune their violins. Next to the violin scroll, we have the tuning pegs. The tuning pegs is used to tune the violin by tightening and loosening the violin string. Each individual peg is connected to an individual string on the violin. The violin has 4 strings: G, D, A, and E. G being the thickest string and E being the thinnest. The strings are spread across the violin, across this black long piece of wood, referred to as the fingerboard. As the name goes, the fingerboard is where the violinists place their fingers to make different sounds in the violin. On the opposite side of the fingerboard, this little piece of bare wood is referred to as the neck of the violin. The neck of the violin is where we will learn how to place our left hand as additional support from the shoulder, and you'll place it on the fingerboard thereafter to make your different sounds. You can move up and down to get different positions on the violin. Moving down from the fingerboard, you'll notice 2 very distinct holes in shape of Fs. These holes are referred to as the F holes, and it's actually where the sound gets projected when we play the violin. In the middle of these F holes, we have what we refer to as the violin's bridge. If you look closely, when the string connects from the top, it sits on the violin's bridge just before it reaches the end of the violin. At the end, the strings are attached to what we refer to as the tailpiece. This little black piece of wood is referred to as the tailpiece. And if you look on top of the tailpiece, there are 4 very distinct screws. These screws are referred to as the fine tuners. The fine tuners are used to do fine tuning, which we refer to as minor tuning, while the tuning pegs are used to do major tuning. So as a beginner, you might use the fine tuners more often than the tuning pegs. Next to the tailpiece, you have the chin rest. The chin rest is where you will place your chin. Yeah. So those are the basic parts of the violin. I will not get into all the little details, but this various parts are enough for now. If you have your violin bow, we will take that out as well and take a look. Okay, the violin bow is what we use to bow the violin. Starting right at the top again, we have what we call the violin bow's tip. Yep, so this is actually the bow's tip. On the other side of the tip, we have the frog. Yeah, like the animal, the frog. One very distinct thing that is connected from tip to the frog is this hair-like texture. For some of you who purchased their violins online, you might not be getting real hair. These violin luthiers actually craft the violin originally in the past using horsehair. My bow is using horsehair, but many violins out there nowadays, they use synthetic hair. So that is the hair of the bow. On the flip side of the hair, we have what we call the stick of the bow. Yep, this long part of the bow is referred to as the stick of the bow. Yep. So you might see when you play the violin, you'll be moving a lot, maybe from tip to the frog or the frog to the tip. Yeah, and this is what helps produce sound when you play the violin. Okay, we got a couple more parts at the bottom of the bow, starting with the winding. So over here you have this metal winding that we refer to just as the winding part of the bow. Yeah, I have this really cool design. Some of you might have different designs on your frog, maybe just a little circle, but for me I have a little crest. So this is actually referred to as the eye of the bow, the eye of the bow. Lastly, next to the frog, we have this little screw, which we refer to as the screw of the bow. You can turn it clockwise and anti-clockwise. This screw of the bow actually helps control the tension of the hair of the bow. If you were to turn it anti-clockwise, like such, it will loosen the hair of the bow. So I can show you closely. The hair is really loose. But if you turn it clockwise, the bow hairs should tighten up like such. There you go. So when we play the violin, we tighten the bow before playing the violin. And just before you store your violin away, you want to loosen your bow. This helps prolong the lifespan of your bow's hair. And with that, we've come to the end of our very first lesson on the various parts in the violin and its key functions. I've written a 15-chapter book available on Amazon that coincides with this entire course. Do get my book if you're keen on trying out various exercises, little tests, and I've also included a couple pieces that you'll be able to play at the end of this course. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.